striker, still not fit.
Yeah, very interesting. Gareth Southgate wants to stick with Harry Maguire, as we talked about in the pregame, Ian. Big challenge for him. He loves him. We'll see if he's up to it. Only 3 Premier League starts this season.
So that's the England team. Let's have a look at Iran, and it's quite a surprise lineup. Star striker Sadar Azmoun is still not fit after a calf injury, and there are 2 players there who didn't play at all in qualifying, Cheshmi and Karimi.
Yeah, Carlos Queiroz has made his statement very clear on the players he likes and who he doesn't like. But again, if they're going to cause England any problems, it's likely through Taremi.
Very pleasant conditions in the arena here. I have to tell you, there is the question of whether the Iran players will perform amid the volatile protests for change in their country. None of them sang the national anthem. There's their coach, Carlos Queiroz, taking charge of Iran for the 3rd time at a World Cup. He was only reappointed 2 months ago amid the turmoil at the Iranian Federation. Ready to go, the England players have decided to take the knee in a statement against all forms of discrimination. Iran in all red here, getting us underway. Yet to ever advance from the group stage, though they did get 4 points and were a little bit unlucky not to do so 4 years ago. England, semi-finalists in the last World Cup, finalists at the European Championships, which were only 16 months ago. Can they go one better and win the World Cup? Is Declan Rice. Is Harry Maguire. He's been the subject of, well, you'd have to call it really a hate campaign among some fans. He's rarely been picked by Manchester United this season, only 3 times in the Premier League. John Stones out to Kieran Trippier. Trippier replaced now for Newcastle United. He's been in prime form and his team are up in 3rd place in the Premier League. I think we can see Iran's intentions very early on here.
I think within a minute, Ian, you see what likely 90 minutes are going to look like. The only caveat, of course, if England get a goal too early, Iran will eventually have to come out, but I think you can expect a lot of this.
Well, they drew with Portugal at the last World Cup, and they very nearly drew with Spain as well. Goal disallowed on a fractional offside division. Carlos Queiroz, a former #2 at Manchester United, a former Real Madrid manager, a former Portugal manager. He knows how to set teams up to frustrate. Trippier looking to get an early ball in here. Saka was arriving, and so was Sterling, picked up by Bellingham. England would have that corner. Mason Mount there in picture, getting the nod here. He came on and made quite a big difference in the last England game, a 3-3 thriller against Germany.
On that cross from Trippier, England had just Harry Kane in the box. Raheem Sterling arrived late, but they got to get more numbers in the box. When they get chances like that wide, you got to put numbers into the box. You're not going to get a lot of opportunities centrally today.
First set piece then for England, and it's too long for everybody. Maguire claims he was being fouled there. A lot of the England players are making protests to the referee. Nothing doing, I don't think, though.
I think Stones and Maguire both. And it looks like our Brazilian referee may be looking at it.
Well, that was Cheshmi holding on there for dear life. Will he be sent to the monitor here? The referee, Rafael Klaus from Brazil, who earlier this season set 5 players off in one game.
There may have been 2 fouls there, Ian. One on Maguire, one on Stones.
You could see what Gareth Southgate thinks. What was Cheshme thinking? They're going to say play on, because I guess they're saying not a clear and obvious error, but it's crazy to try that, isn't it, Landon, when there are cameras everywhere.
In today's day and age, Ian, you just very rarely get away with it. However, they did.
That was Cheshme, the player involved. He was one of the players not involved at all in the qualification. And I have to say, this Iran team that Queiroz has picked here today has taken even seasoned watchers of this team very much by surprise. Race again. Rice might feel quite at home here, because the setup in this stadium is rather like West Ham United's home in East London, the London Stadium. Here's John Stones of Manchester City. To Bukayo Saka, the youngster who is playing for the current league leaders in the Premier League, Arsenal. England have advanced from the group stage in 11 of their last 12 tries in the World Cup, the exception being 2014 when they were home before the postcards. Bottom of the group in Brazil. Stones again. Been playing right back for his club recently. Back in his usual England position here. Mount to spread it wide. Shaw to get the early cross away. Iran defending very, very deep. But they are good at it usually. They only let in 5 goals in 16 qualifying matches. That's Hosseini. Happy to give away the throw-in the end. They'll only have Jahanbash and Taremi looking to break forward if they can ever get out of this shell.
That's where John Stones and Harry Maguire have to be really good. You saw Declan Rice end the counter quickly on that last service from Luke Shaw. End that counter quickly so you can spend more time doing this, just pinned in Iran's end until you eventually break them down.
Rice. Here's Saka. He's in the team, I think, because he does have that ability to go past players. Gets the free kick there. There were a lot of obstacles to try to get through there for Saka, and closed him down very, very quickly. Taken quickly by Trippier to Kane. Maguire arriving on the back post there, couldn't direct it goalwards. It was a bit of a flap by Bayern Van, the goalkeeper, who's stayed down injured here. Cheshme as well. Sorry, I beg your pardon, Hosseini, that is, who's down as well as Bayern Van.
When you have a team set up the way Iran are, so defensively and compact when England have the ball, these are the little types of plays that can make a difference. Can you have a quick free kick, a clever free kick, put them under pressure in different ways?
There's a chance of sorts, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's better from Raheem Sterling making the box, Declan Rice making the box. You have to put them under pressure. It can't just be Harry Kane by himself. And obviously that time he's serving the ball.
Just a fingertip by the former shepherd, Alireza Bayern Van. He's still feeling that by the look of things. Hosseini, the defender. It is warm as ever here, but they boasted that the air conditioning would be good in the stadiums, and I can tell you it is.
I feel good. I have a suit on.
Yes, it's almost pleasant. Bayern Van struggling a little bit here. So prolonged treatment for the Iranian goalkeeper who saved a Cristiano Ronaldo penalty in the last World Cup in Russia. He's a bit of an expert at that, and he also holds the Guinness Book of World Records for a throw out by a goalkeeper measuring over 60 yards.
Well, you remember a pretty special throw out at one point in 2010 from Mr. Tim Howard.
Yeah. Can't remember who scored that goal against Algeria.
It didn't need to go 60 yards, that's for sure.
Good to be reunited after all this time, Landon. We'll see later whether it's go USA this time.
Let's hope so.
Have to report that there's a lot of Iranian fans here, and there were some boos when the national anthem was played. You'll be aware of the protests going on in that country.
I can't tell, Ian, if there are more Iranian fans or England fans. It seems pretty even. However, the volume and cheering from the Iranian fans in pre-game and during the anthems severely outweighed the English.
Well, it's only a 2-hour flight across the Gulf for them to come here to Doha. Quite a long gap in the proceedings. Now, they're going to have to be careful here that there's no concussion for Bayern Van, because that is quite a big issue, as you will have been hearing in football. Big campaign for temporary substitutions to be allowed while players are properly assessed, rather than them getting up and saying to the physio, well, I'm okay to carry on, because every player's going to say that, aren't they?
Of course they are, but that's why you have professionals to make those decisions. And the officials are giving Bayern Van a full amount of time. They do have Hosseini, 30-year-old goalkeeper who plays in the league here for Esteghlal. Dr. Joe, you've got a view on developments here.
Absolutely, Ian. And for the first time in the World Cup, FIFA will be allowing a concussion substitution, which means that if this goalkeeper has to be removed from the game as a result of a head injury, and a substitute goalkeeper comes in, that will not count as one of the 5 substitutions that they are allowed. And England will get an additional substitution opportunity as well.
Thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, that's an important point. So effectively, if Bayern Van has to go off, and that's starting to look increasingly likely, we're not doctors, we don't know, but both teams would be allowed 6 substitutions in all. Well, they'll give him the maximum time, won't they? Because it is a head injury and this has to be done properly. But he's been down now, I'd say, for over 5 or 6 minutes. It's the experienced Ehsan Hajsafi who's leaning over his stricken teammate here amid some growing concern. Bayern Van happily has just got up, or partially got up at least. Are they going to make the change here, I wonder? Looks like it, doesn't it? That would be a big blow for Iran. Hajsafi's trying to revive him with some water, but I think it's a more complex issue than that, isn't it? And just to repeat what Dr. Joe just told us, that if Bayern Van does go off, it would not count as one of the 5 substitutions. It's like a free sub. Looks like they still haven't decided, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is really tough, Ian. It's
He's taking off the sweater now. Yeah.
It might be, well, it might be blood on it, but this is really tough, Ian. You're playing in a World Cup. Nobody wants to come out of a match. However, you're a human being first. And you have to be really careful and sure in these situations that he is indeed okay.
And that has to be a little bit of a question mark, really. Iran did bring 4 goalkeepers to this World Cup in their squad. They might be quite happy about that at this point. This is going to be a late finish, isn't it? This game. There is Hosseini. What about the players here, Landon? Because they've almost got to warm themselves up again after a delay this long.
You can see a bunch of them trying to move, stretch a little bit. It does play into the psyche a little bit. However, I would say if this had happened in 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in the second half, a bit different. It still feels like the start of the match, so I think they'll be fine.
I think Bayron Vant, along with the medical team from Iran, have made the decision that he can, after all of that, continue. But they'll be keeping a very, very close eye on him, I'd say. And it sounds ruthless, but England will want to test him quite early after this, won't they?
Undoubtedly, there's no question. Ian, I don't want to speculate, but he just doesn't look right to me, to be honest. You look in his eyes, he looks quite fazed by this, so keep an eye on him.
So that is a big debating point among the big concussion discussion going on in world football. Bayron Vant does launch it downfield, but is he still groggy as Kane plays it out to Mason Mount? Back to his big mate, Declan Rice. Rice was actually rejected by Chelsea when he was a kid. That's a decision I think they've probably come to regret.
And it looks like Bayron Vant has gone down.
Yeah.
Ian. I give him a lot of credit. This is really difficult, but he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, he's decided he's still not feeling right. I think your call was a good one, Landon, that he didn't look really in any kind of condition to carry on, and I think he's decided that as well now. He will have planned this all meticulously. They are going to make the substitution. The signs are going out. But it does kind of raise the question of why he was ever allowed to carry on.
Yeah, again, these are tough decisions. You really can't let the player decide. It's not his choice in these moments because every player wants to stay in a game. Whether it's a friendly or a World Cup, every player feels the same. So you can't really let him decide.
Which again underlines the need, I think, for temporary substitution, so a proper assessment can be made. But that is a tine concentration.
I'm just curious if we have Dr. Joe around still. I'd be curious, do you get an extra substitution slot as well? Because normally you get 3 plus halftime. Does the slot to sub go away and you get an extra sub?
Actually, Landon, you do get an extra substitution opportunity. This actually doesn't count as one of their 3 substitution opportunities, and England would get one also. What's interesting about this, you know, in American football and hockey, we have neutral doctors supervising concussion protocol and can actually force a player to be removed from the match. I thought coming into this tournament, FIFA was going to have that protocol in place, but it certainly didn't look like it happened today.
Yeah, it's a great point, Dr. Joe. And again, everyone's everyone's biased here. Beiranvand is biased. Their doctors are. They're getting pressure from Kirosh maybe to leave him in the game. It looked like Hajsafi was petitioning him to keep him in the game. I think it's a great idea to have someone independent to make that decision, because it's very dangerous.
I think it's going to spark a debate, isn't it, this whole incident. So on comes Hosseini. He's an experienced goalkeeper. He's 30 years of age, but it's only his 7th cap this for Iran. He was recalled to the squad after his club had won the title, Esteghlal. So that change has been made. Trippier. Now Bukayo Saka. England beaten only 3 times in their opening matches at the World Cup. The last time by Italy in Brazil in the Amazonian heat of Manaus. Jahanbakhsh, player well known to the England players. He played for Brighton for a time, not with too much success, it should be said. First time these two countries have ever met, by the way. Taremi just got there first. He's very much the danger man. As Shafi to lay it inside. First time Iran have come into the England half. Mohammadi, that's the left wing-back role. There's Mohammadi again, but free kick's going to be given here to Iran. Have been questions about the form and fitness of players in the England defensive unit, and I wonder whether that will be tested in this group. Certainly the USA will have eyes on that. But when they meet on Friday, Jahanbakhsh, that was off the training ground, trying to fool England. Nurolahi, decent looking cross in as well. And Jahanbakhsh again, pulled away by Saka for England. I think a lot of people, without doing their research on Iran, looked at this and thought, well, it's a bit of a formality for England. But if you look at Iran's World Cup record, though they haven't won too often in the competition, they've often been a big test.
And they were very good in Asian qualifying. They finished atop a group that included South Korea, who are also here. Second in goals, second in assists, expected goals, expected assists. Only behind Japan in Asian qualifying. So this is a very good team.
England's tempo slow early on. Trying to tempt Iran to maybe come out to play a little bit, but I'm not sure they're going to be buying that. Maguire with the header. Later today on Fox, it's Senegal against the Netherlands. And the USA taking on Wales. Coverage starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific from those two games. You'll want to say somewhere near a television, with the USA making their first appearance at the competition. Massive game, of course. Shaw on the overlap here. Looking to get the early ball in. Bellingham goes for that one. Beaten to it by Cheshmi. One of Iran's jobs, of course, is to contain the man who won the Golden Boot at the last World Cup, Harry Kane, who scored 5 goals in the first 2 matches in Russia. Only one more after that, but it was enough. Nobody scored more than 8 at a World Cup since the great Brazilian Ronaldo in 2002. He got 8 that year. Landon, apart from the injury, I would think that Iran might be happy enough with this start to the game.
Extremely happy. Carlos Queiroz has to be very happy with this. They came after England like this one time, turned them over, drew a foul, had a decent set piece, but other than that, they've been pinned in their end, but they're happy and they're defending well.
First yellow card for Jahanbakhsh for this challenge on Luke Shaw. Only 2 yellows amounts to a 1-game ban, and they were being handed out, I noticed, quite liberally in that first game. So I wonder if we're going to end up with quite a long list of people who are being suspended. And this time it's Karimi, another of the surprise selections. Trippier, again, they're looking at that early free kick. Kane nearly managed to get it, but it was well intercepted. Here comes the attempted break from Iran with Mohammadi. Now Taremi. This referee, by the way, Landon, 10 red cards in his last 9 matches. 5 of them in 1 game. The Rio Derby Flamengo Fluminense. Saka. Bellingham. Saka trying to plot a way through, but it's congested with red shirts again. Karimi is the player down. I think anything that breaks the rhythm of the game is right up Carlos Queiroz's street, really, here. So you can expect the players to stay down a little longer than might be entirely necessary on occasion. Play towards Kane. Mount to spread the play. Here's Saka. And first involvement for the deputy goalkeeper, Hossein Hosseini.
Every goalkeeper and goalkeeper coach in the history of my career said, when you come into a game like this, you want one easy moment to get you settled. And that was certainly it for Hosseini. A simple cross into the box, fall on it, and now he's comfortable and into the match.
Mohorami is looking for Jahanbakhsh again. He does have some talent, Jahanbakhsh, but really able to show it when he came to the Premier League and played for Brighton, apart from one brilliant overhead bicycle kick goal against Chelsea. Saka, the latest player down in what has been a stop-start beginning to this game. We do thank you all for setting your alarm clocks and tuning in to this, particularly those of you out west.
Well, if you have 3 kids like me, you don't need an alarm clock. You're up anyway.
I mean, this is a breakfast time offering, isn't it, really? Kickoff was 4 p.m. local time here just to the west of Doha. This is the only non-new stadium this World Cup. It's where Qatar play their national team games. It's also home to the excellent Aspire Academy where they're trying to produce a generation of young footballers. Here's Saka again. You can see how well drilled Iran are. England have to find the invention. Saka to the near post, and Mason Mount into the side netting. Still no breakthrough.
We saw this against Germany in their last match before the World Cup, really overloading the right side of the field. This is where they bring Sterling, Saka all together. Harry Kane, Mason Mount, all on this side of the field. It's really hard to defend against. They get their first real opportunity.
The US faces Wales in their opening World Cup match later today on Fox. Remember, coverage beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And vital that the USA get off to a good start, Landon.
Crucial. You're going to hear this stat all week with these first games. 84% of the time when you win your first match, you advance out of the group. So a huge game later this morning, afternoon in the States.
It's a heavy touch by Bellingham. Could have been a big problem. In the end, it wasn't. And here's Mount again, who's got the job of being the spark plug in the number 10 position. Shaw to his outside. Now all those red shirts have funneled back, but Trippier arrives. Headed on by Kane. It wouldn't drop for Saka. Here's young Bellingham. 9 goals for Borussia Dortmund this season already.
Again, Ian, through this right side of the field, you see Sterling coming all the way over, Saka inside, Trippier here, Kane here. For teams that defend zonally, which are most teams around the world, you just can't account for all the players on one side of the field. It's really difficult to defend, and England, another corner now, starting to pile on a little bit of pressure.
Trippier to take it. His dad's got the 30-foot flagpole in the garden with the England flag on again. In Bury, near Manchester. Poor Liganji's got something to say to the referee. Trippier's ball in, and Maguire hits the bar with his header. Nearly a dream beginning to the World Cup for the man who's been under the microscope, Harry Maguire. Mohammadi blocked off.
Ian, I couldn't tell if it was Maguire or Stones. They were both in the same area. Yeah, you're right, Maguire just beat his man to the spot. And by England complaining early about the holding and pulling, it just makes Iran hesitate a second on some of these marking.
Nearly scoring for the 3rd tournament running. He scored at the World Cup, he scored at the European Championships, Harry Maguire. And he is dangerous in the air. He's probably reflecting that's how his luck's been going this last year, that bounces down from the underside of the crossbar. It's Mohammadi and Hashsafi, who can play all over the place. Midfield today for him. He can do just as good a job at left back. Luke Shaw of Manchester United, who was in the England squad 8 years ago when he was only 18. A Southampton player then. Quite a lot's happened to him in the interim, including a very nasty broken leg. Cheshmi doesn't clear it properly. Bellingham picks it up. England just beginning to find a slightly higher gear.
The reason why is they're allowing Jude Bellingham to float forward more. They're keeping Declan Rice by himself in there, which is plenty. With Stones, Maguire, and Rice, they're fine. Bellingham getting forward more again, overloading the right side of the field, and it's starting to cause Iran a lot of problems.
Here's John Stones for England, who would be the betting favourites to go through in this group. Sterling wide, Shaw with the early ball, and Bellingham scores for England! The teenager delivers his first England goal on the biggest stage of all.
Well, right on cue, Ian said Declan Rice was sitting there by himself, allowing Bellingham to get forward into the attack. This time they decide to use the left side of the field. Harry Maguire with a splitting pass here. Laid off well. Fantastic cross. Just glances it into the far post. 1-0 England.
Clever header that by Bellingham, the policeman's son from Stourbridge in the English Midlands. What a career is ahead of him. He was in Birmingham's team when he was 16 years old. Well, that is a moment, whatever happens in his career, he will never ever forget that. You know how it feels, Landon, scoring at the World Cup. Exactly what England wanted. And Iran playing themselves into trouble there. Kane couldn't quite measure the ball correctly for Mason Mount. Sure, with the setup, wasn't it, Landon?
Yeah, here it is again, and Harry Kane pulls away, leaving Bellingham to fill the space in the middle. I said early, when there's service into the box, you need to get runners into the box and put Iran under pressure. And that young man showed you why.
The youngest player in the squad with the breakthrough goal for England. Whose next game in this group is against the USA on Friday. Compulsive viewing, I would say that. And of course, England have never beaten the USA, have they? At a World Cup.
Thanks for reminding me, Ian.
Well, it's true, isn't it? 1950 and all that. One of the biggest shocks in World Cup history. USA 1, England 0 in Belo Horizonte in Brazil. That 1-1 draw in 2010. Clint knows all about that one.
So you're just saying we're the better side?
To be decided, isn't it? Yes, that's why we play football matches. Kane looking for the little flick on. How does this change Iran's approach now? Because they were set up to get a goalless draw, or trying to.
It was my first thought after the goal went in. What is the game going to look like now? And it's hard to imagine Iran really pushing forward and leaving themselves exposed. You have to remember in these tournaments, Ian, goal differential does matter, matters a lot. If you lose 1-0, can you still advance? Absolutely. And I think Iran will fancy their chances against the US and Wales. So just be smart here. If you can find a way to get a goal, great. But you can't get blown out here, otherwise your tournament's likely over.
Yeah, you can't take a 4-0 hammering. There's no way back really from that, not realistically. Here's Bellingham again, who must be feeling $1 million after that goal. He's captained Borussia Dortmund already as well, once or twice, and he's only 19. It's the return of World Cup tonight. All the day's highlights, special guests and World Cup fun with Kate Abdo, Mo Edu, and America's World Cup fan Chad Ochocinco, who gets to the matches, including tonight's USA-Wales match. That's tonight at midnight on Fox. And there might be one or two talking points from this one as well. Rice. Nurulahi's going to chase it from his midfield perch. They've got 5 strung across the midfield. That one's too long for Harry Kane. England needed a last-minute goal from him in their opener in Russia against Tunisia. Muhurahi into Nurulahi. Nurulahi's crossed towards Taremi. Taremi has 5 Champions League goals for Porto this season. He does know how to finish. That's level of the Champions League goals of Erling Haaland and Robert Lewandowski. It's not bad, is it?
It's decent company.
Yeah. Saka is penalised for that. It's a little bit of a let-off, I would say, there for Majid Hosseini. Is there much in this? Let's have a look. Yeah, he pulls him a little, doesn't he? Was a little, wasn't it?
I was a striker, that's not a foul.
You strikers knew how to look after yourselves. That's the whisper I always hear. Just let the defenders know you're around. There's Harry Maguire. Pretty much total dominance by England, isn't it? Good ball from Maguire, a little reverse pass out of defence to Luke Shaw, who set up the goal with a lovely cross. Bellingham did the rest.
When England do break pressure there, they need to look vertical and direct. Luke Shaw had Raheem Sterling in all by himself there. The goal of beating pressure is not to look pretty, it's to hurt teams the other way if they're going to come after you. And if Iran start to do that, England have to be vertical when they do break pressure and go score the goal.
Shaw seeing a lot of the ball. It's on that left-hand side. Stones again. He scored twice against Panama 4 years ago when England won by 6 goals to 1 in the group. Knows how to pass. It's a good one too to Shaw. But Mahorami was there. Not a good ball though. Out. Mount tries to feed Sterling, and Iran are happy to concede the corner. The Iranians looking stretched. Thousands of their fans here. Some of them did boo the national anthem, we have to report. Shaw with another cross. Maguire again won the header, and England go 2-0 up. And it's Bukayo Saka, another of the young players who delivers for England. They're claiming a push, aren't they? The Iranian defenders here, they want the VAR to have a look at this.
Well, England have been menacing all day on set pieces. Claiming a push, I don't see anything there. Harry Maguire makes another play. He's been excellent so far, Ian. And look at this finish by Saka, maybe a little deflected. 2-0, England.
Let's call in Dr. Joe. Do you see anything wrong with this?
Well, pushing and holding in the penalty area on corner kicks has always been a concern of FIFA, but I don't see anything that rises to the level of what we saw on the first corner kick of the match. Certainly the English player jumps higher than his opponent, but he doesn't use him to climb on him or to bowl him over from the back. If I'm the VAR, I'm not sending down this play for review.
Thank you very much indeed, Joe. Yeah, that would be crazy if that was ruled out. It was just a great leap, wasn't it?
It's a
by Maguire.
Great point by Dr. Joe. The first corner of the match, England had 2 players pulled down, and the referee let it go. So there's no way you can call a foul there.
Yeah. 2-0, and it could be worse, really, this for Iran, because Maguire has hit the bar, and there might have been that penalty that Dr. Joe was telling us about. Now Mount, England just beginning to try to turn it on a little. It's interesting, Gareth Southgate, speaking a little earlier this week, was saying it's time to take the shackles off with this England team, because he has been criticised for being a shade cautious.
Well, it's easy to say that against Iran, right?
Yeah.
Will they do it against the U.S. or will they do it against better opponents?
Well, England look like they fancy this now. Kane gets an early ball in, and England have another one. Raheem Sterling this time. And this first half is turning into an England party. David Beckham among those celebrating.
And I said earlier, the point of breaking pressure is to go quickly and beat a team that's unorganized. So England break the pressure. Good individual play by Bellingham. And Kane knows where he wants the ball to be served when he gets here. And he says, I'm going to do the same thing. Sterling making the box, putting Iran under pressure. 3-0 England, and it's turning into a rout.
That is a clever finish, isn't it, Landon?
Can't tell you how difficult that is. Outside of the foot, just trying to get something on it. When you scored like that in training, I used to have a coach tell me you just can't teach things like that. That's instinct. Fantastic finish by Raheem Sterling,
who got 3 goals at the European Championships. He'd never scored a tournament goal before that either. He's got 1 now at the World Cup as well. He's not been able to score for toffee really for ages for his club Chelsea. Maguire having a fine match, it has to be said, making the challenge. It's going to be 14 minutes added on here because of the quite correct length of time taken to look at Alireza Beirinvan, the Iran goalkeeper who had to go off in the early stages here. Well, England not only on their way to 3 points, but also a very healthy goal difference in this group as well. Here's Bellingham again. Queiroz took a gamble with his selection. I don't think many of the reporters who follow the team could believe he'd left outside Eza Touhali, who always plays as the holding midfield player, not selected for this game. And, well, there's going to be a fair amount of comment about that, the way this has developed. Trippier. Corner kick. There is a dispirited look about Iran.
And the problem right now is normally you see 48 minutes on the clock and you think, hey, maybe a minute or 2 more. Still 11 more minutes for England to get a 4th or perhaps a 5th and just firmly put this thing to bed.
Trippier will be in charge of a lot of set pieces. This time it's comfortably defended by the Iranians. Could drop again here for Saka in there. Keeps coming back, doesn't it?
The positioning from John Stones there, excellent. not allowing Iran to get out. I talked about it earlier. You have to end that counter immediately so you can continue to pile on pressure. Really good by John Stones, who oftentimes does the same thing at Man City.
Landon, the amazing thing is England have scored 3 times and Kane hasn't got one. Still time.
I would bet a decent amount of money he's going to score before the day's over, Ian.
I'll remind you of that in the 89th minute. Saka again, marking the occasion with a goal here. Phil Foden of Manchester City was a casualty of his selection. Has to wait on the bench for his chance today. Rice to feed it wide. Game plan has to go out the window a bit, really, for Iran now. How do they go about this? Because their plan was to defend deep and frustrate England, but they've not really managed to be able to do that. Cheshmi getting that one away. Later today on Fox, it's Senegal against the Netherlands and the USA taking on Wales. Coverage of those 2 games beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Basically right after this. Remember this game in the US group. Group B of the World Cup here on day 2 of the competition. So much drama, so many stories about to unfold. Some of them will be surprising stories as well. This one, not so. Form book is being obeyed. Saka. Look to work a little 1-2 there with Mount. Has to be said, Landon, that this is a difficult time with everything going on in Iran for the Iranian players, isn't it? Some of them haven't celebrated goals in preparation games. We saw them not singing the anthem.
Yeah, in the end, Ian, they're human beings, and how could you not be impacted? And, you know, I just think probably the emotional toll has taken over some of them, and they just look a little bit lifeless at this point.
Rice goes for the long ball. Sterling had made a run in behind, didn't quite get to him. Majid Hosseini. Iran, who qualified in the Asian section with 3 games to spare in the end, but they fired the guy that got them there, Dragan Skokic, amid the divisions and tension and politics at the Iranian Federation. Stones for England. Bit of an armchair ride, really, for them so far. Of course, much stiffer tasks lie ahead. Mishafi just can't keep the ball. Iran, not at all. They badly need half-time, don't they?
The problem when you're defending for this period of time and stretches this long is when you do win the ball, your energy's gone. You can't then keep the ball, so it becomes a vicious cycle of chasing, win the ball, give it away, chase, win the ball, give it away, and keep chasing. And that's what it's turned into in this first half.
There's Maguire again. At times it looks like one of those attack v defense training sessions.
I enjoyed those ones.
Who won?
Always the attack.
I've got no evidence to the contrary, so I'll take your word for that. Away by Koro Laganji, who was part of the team that beat Morocco in Iran's first game 4 years ago. They won it with a 95th minute own goal. Got 4 points, but this is already looking like a mountainous task for them in this group, the way it started. Rice didn't win the header. Taremi can pick it up here. He's got Jahanbash pulling into some space. Here's Haj Safi this time, and an opportunity maybe for Jahanbash, which he does not take. It was an attempt at a controlled volley into the roof of the net.
First real opportunity for Iran here. Comes off a turnover. Little complacent from England. Probably would have been offside there anyway. But for kids watching at home, when you lean back like Jahanbash did there, oftentimes the ball goes over the net. You got to lean forward. Keep your body forward, your body weight forward. And that allows it to stay down.
Still in this extended 14-minute period of overtime at the end of the first half because of the injury to the Iran goalkeeper Alireza Beranvan. Well, it's a magnificent start to the World Cup, this, for England. No two ways about it. And something of a horror story for Iran. And a couple of outstanding finishes. Certainly the header from Bellingham. This one round the corner. Kane with a somewhat sloppy layoff. Referee wants to pull the play back here for an England free kick. I think he was just waiting to see whether an advantage had accrued.
For Gareth Southgate and Carlos Queiroz, as you go into halftime here, your idea of what the match was going to look like, I think, has changed. And the foul there, I don't think they would have expected it to be 3-0 like this at halftime. But your calculation now is, do you get some players off the field if you're England to rest them? If you're Iran, do you do the same, knowing that if you're not careful, this could be 4 or 5 or 6 and your World Cup's basically over? I think if they keep it at 3, it's potentially still an opportunity to get through. But that's what the coaches are talking about. I see Carlos Queiroz and his assistants debating now, and it's different than a match that's close, where you might think about how you can tactically impact the match. Now you're thinking about the future a little bit.
England plotting maybe some more misery from this free kick. Shaw to play it in. It was aimed towards Maguire. England still have Kyle Walker, an important defender, to come back. He's been out for a month or so at Manchester City with a groin injury, but is ahead of schedule in his rehabilitation, and they do expect him to be able to play some part of this World Cup. Calvin Phillips is another player who's been out a long time this season, but he's in the squad as well. I wonder whether he might be given some minutes in the second half in this situation. Maguire was just caught, but he made the interception. I think Maguire wants to make this World Cup his kind of comeback concert, Landon.
He's certainly done that so far. Let's hope it continues.
And that is half-time, and that half-time whistle was badly needed by Iran. England, a dream start to the World Cup, leading 3-0 here at half-time. Let's hand it back to Tom Rinaldi.
The 2022 FIFA World Cup halftime show on FS1, presented by Verizon. Well, England's World Cup campaign off to a roaring start. Could hardly go any better. Coming up on the Verizon halftime show, we'll show you all 3 of the Lions' goals and a report from the U.S. camp ahead of their opener. And we'll get you ready for the rest of the action on day 2 of this World Cup.
Bah, humbug!
Happy holidays, Mr. Scrooge!
Trying to
what this might mean for England. When they score in their opener, they seem to build a lot of momentum. Let's not delay. Let's get right to the highlights. We take a look at just who comes out. There's a different kind of royalty as we see Beckham, but a frightening moment. Ali Reza Beranvan, the keeper for Iran. The frightening collision here in the opening moments. See, a difficult contested ball, and there you see the difficult collision, and he gets carted off, giving way to a backup keeper. And Clint, England takes advantage.
Yeah, they were firing on all cylinders. It was just a matter of time before they got that goal. And with Declan Rice sitting in the middle, it allowed Bellingham to get forward. Great cross from Shaw. Bellingham opening his account, his first goal for England, being the youngest player on the team at 19. What a way to open your account. Look at the celebrations here. They want the trophy to come home. And wow, what a goal.
Wow, what a waste of beer. All right, here we go. Youngsters, here we go. 21-year-old at the top of the box. By the way, England is phenomenal on set pieces. U.S. better be keeping an eye on that as they're scouting ahead for that next game. Maguire just drops it down to the top of the box here. Saka just, boom, off the left foot. Gets a little deflection and upper 90. England cruising.
And the confidence was really flowing after this goal. Harry Kane gets the ball out onto the right. Look at this no-look pass. Doesn't even look where his teammate is, Sterling. Outside of the boot. How dare you, Sterling? What fantastic skill. Absolutely brilliant. 3-0 England.
First time England has scored 3 goals in the opener since 1982. Well, later today, the U.S. national team takes center stage. The Americans finally begin their World Cup campaign against Wales live on Fox. The U.S. the first team to arrive in Qatar. They've been prepping for their opener for almost 10 days. A report from the American camp coming up after the break. for the latest. Here's Jenny Taft, who's embedded with the team.
Well, Tom, we've been talking about how unique this World Cup is. Qatar, the size of Connecticut, which means once you're in country, no more flying. Greg Berhalter told me that he shared this message with his guys. Unpack your bags, put your books away, hang up your clothes, because we plan to be here for a while. Midfielder Weston McKennie told me that those words really put the guys at ease. They're comfortable here. They're training at the same facility, staying at the same hotel. And even though the World Cup opener is today, in their minds, they plan to be here for a while. Tom?
U.S.-Wales, the final match of our triple header today. Also on Fox, reigning African champions Senegal will battle the Netherlands in a Group A encounter. Well, here's your first half moment, sponsored by Verizon. 19 years old, Jude Bellingham. Clint Dempsey tipped him, and he came through. The first teenager to score for England at a World Cup since Michael Owen in 1998. The Dortmund midfielder leaving his mark against Iran. The second half, next.
Guys, there's
of Doha, Iran making 3 substitutions as they trail 3-0 at half-time to England in an incident-packed first half, which also include Alireza Behranvan, the Iranian goalkeeper, having to go off with what looked like concussion. 3 new players coming on. Among them a player we thought would start the game. He usually does for them. Saeed Ezzatullahi, the central midfield player. Also coming on is Ali Golizadeh, who will play further forward on the right-hand side. And number 13, that is Hossein Kanani, a defender. Looks like Jahan Bash, who'd been booked, is one of those who's gone off. 3-0 to England. the goal difference situation is quite important here, isn't it, for Iran? They don't want any further damage.
It is, and for England as well. I think England will feel very confident they're going to get through the group, but you never know. And every goal in the first round of a World Cup is vital. Sorry,
Landon, Pickford nearly caught out there. Quite clear that Iran have come out trying to high press England at the start of the half. Ezzatullahi, who we thought would definitely start, he nearly always does. He's on there now. I think Cheshme's another of those who's gone off. Jahanbash, Cheshme and Karimi is the other player who's gone off, just to tidy that up. Here's Moharami, who plays in the Champions League, or has done this season for Dinamo Zagreb, but that's a loose ball by Golizade, one of the substitutes. It was picked up by Bellingham. Saka rather left the ball behind for a moment. Kane to pick it up. Kane's is just as good a creator as he is scorer these days. Some of his passing from deep positions quite sumptuous. Trying to put Maguire under a little bit of pressure. Helped forward by Rice, but this might leave gaps behind for England to exploit, so there's danger in this for Iran.
That's exactly right, Ian. This is going to be very interesting to watch. There's a tactical side. We don't want to make this 4, 5, or 6 if you're Carlos Queiroz. However, if you go after England and you don't win the ball, tons of space behind for some very, very talented attacking players.
Here's Kane. And he goes. They've nicked the ball away from him, but the referee's whistle blows, and there will be a yellow card for Poriligani. And Kane stays down after that as well. It'll always be an alarming sight for England supporters, and indeed for Gareth Southgate. He's had a lot of trouble in the past with ankle injuries, Harry Kane, which has quite often led to 2-month breaks in his career for ankle ligament damage. He's even hired specialist medical people to try to offset any injuries to that area. Let's have a look at this. Ooh.
Ouch. And this is a huge concern, Ian. That's really painful, and the challenge at halftime, certainly not going to second guess Gareth Southgate. However, the last thing you need at this point is an injury that can impact your World Cup, and that man not being able to play would severely hurt England's chances of going far in the tournament.
It would indeed. It's the last man they want to see injured. Well, he is back on his feet and looks like he can put weight on it. So maybe it's something of a false alarm.
Let's hope so. Now, I wouldn't mind if he just took a rest 4 days from now and decided to make sure it's fully healed.
Just confirmation of that yellow card for Poriligani, who played well at the last World Cup. Remember him making any number of excellent saving tackles. Trippier, who scored in the semi-final of the World Cup last time after 5 minutes against Croatia. Looks like he's interested in hitting this one. Kane's come back on, moving freely. "25 yards out, Trippier into the wall." Back across to Luke Shaw, who's had an excellent game so far. A Manchester United man. Attempted back heel to release Harry Kane. Trippier's the latest player down with a knock. And Maguire knocks it out of play so that Trippier can get some treatment. Just caught up the toe by the look of it, Landon.
Yeah, it looks like it. And again, all of these little plays are worrying if you're an England fan.
And the boots are flimsier these days, aren't they, as well? That's why you see more metatarsal injuries. I'm not suggesting that is. Looked like a painful one on the toe for Kieran Trippier. Looks like he's going to be okay. Gareth Southgate always calls him my soldier. Tries to find a place in the team for him. That face paint's expensive, you know. Maguire. Did by one of the players who's come on, Kanani. Here's Hashsafi. He can sometimes make things happen. Taremi trying to get in there, but Maguire again with the important foot in for England. Here's Taremi again. And a big star at Porto since making his move there.
You know, when you're losing 3-0 at halftime, there are tactical adjustments, but this also is a check on just the pride of this Iran team, and I think that's part of the reason why they're coming after England early. Is you have to have pride in playing for your country in a World Cup, and they're not just going to sit in and allow it to happen.
Here's Bukayo Saka. Bellingham. He's very strong. Cut back, and they're happy to give away the corner. But I think Bellingham has now forced his way into the starting lineup. He might take some shifting.
He's been fantastic, and you can see the confidence growing in him and just shrugging off that Iran defender, getting another corner for England, where they've been very dangerous today.
Another set piece, another possible chance for Harry Maguire to get on the end of something he quite often does. It's a bit of a miscue by the sub-goalkeeper Hosseini. Now Rice. Another England corner. Declan Rice now the West Ham United captain. They've been having a difficult time of things this season, but he's very much their torchbearer. That's Maguire going for it again, doesn't win that header. Mason Mount. England with the nucleus of the team which made the European Championship final. Mount getting the cross in, that won't be a problem. Last time England scored 3 goals in the opening match of the World Cup was 1982 against France. And Brian Robson scored after 27 seconds that day, one of the quickest goals in World Cup history. England won 3-1. Ball was given away, nearly fed through for Mehdi Taremi. Again, great work by Maguire. Kane working well with Sterling. Real good chemistry between those two. Nice, good covering in that Iranian defence in the end. Majid Hosseini got across.
Harry.
Corner kick for England, who are ranked number 5 in the world in the FIFA rankings.
Because England are hitting outswingers, Harry Maguire and John Stones starting a little further away from goal, getting time to run and meet the ball on impact.
Shaw with the corner kick to the near post where Rice attacked it. England look hungry for more, don't they? Remember, 3 games in the group. The top 2 in each group go through to the round of 16. The bottom 2 in the group get an early plane home. Your fate can be decided in about 8 days, can't it, at this thing? If you're not careful.
If Iran aren't careful, it could be decided in the next 40 minutes.
Noor Alahi to pick it up for them. They've tried to come out with a little bit more tempo, a little bit more edge at the start of the second half. They went in looking a little sorry for themselves. Kanani to play it long. Later today on Fox, it's Senegal against the Netherlands. An intriguing game, that one, from Group A. And the USA taking on Wales. USA first game of this World Cup coverage of those 2 games starting at 10 a.m. Eastern and 7 a.m. Pacific. And if you want to know the USA kickoff time, that's 2 p.m. Eastern. Here's Bellingham. Saka again has capped his selection with a goal. Sterling had an overload on the left-hand side there, unable to use it. Handball, says the referee. Gives England a free kick. Taremi there, who missed a huge chance at the last World Cup against Portugal. If he'd put it in, it would have taken Iran through to the knockout stages, and he's kind of been haunted by that ever since. Remember, they never have advanced from the group in their 5 World Cups to date. Saka again. Bellingham. Muharami did pretty well, but Shaw's trying his luck. Again, they get the block in. Shaw, who scored after 2 minutes in the Euro final last year. One criticism made of Gareth Southgate in England over the last 3 or 4 years has been that they haven't been ruthless enough. They led against Croatia in that World Cup semi 4 years ago, ended up losing it in extra time. They led against Italy in the European Championship final, didn't really go for it, let Italy off the hook, ended up losing it on penalties. So do you think there's a lesson to be learned for them at this tournament?
Yeah, I'm not sure in this game, right? This game is different. However, fear is the most powerful emotion in this game, and you score a goal early, it's easy to then sit back, try to protect the lead. The reality is the best teams in the world go and go and go and keep scoring and keep attacking. It's the hardest thing to do, though, Ian.
Is Iran trying to attack now with Taremi. And the long distance effort was from what? Fully 40 yards from Ezzat Olahi. I'd say that was on the optimistic side.
Certainly optimistic, but you know what, Ian? He's come into the game and provided a little bit of heart, pride, some character. He had a header on this touchline over here. It's really, really strange to try to figure out why he didn't start the match.
There's the man who knows, nearly 70 years of age now, Carlos Queiroz. He is a charmer, always very approachable, very friendly. What's interesting, he didn't sing the Iranian anthem either. Third time in charge of Iran at a World Cup here. Is Sterling. Kanani didn't manage to make the challenge, and Saka's got an opportunity, working it onto that left foot as he likes to do, and scoring with that left foot as he likes to do as well. And England go 4 up. They're in dreamland here.
Well, this all starts with Raheem Sterling, who's been excellent tonight, showing off all his quality on one play here. Shaw wins the header, sublime first touch, gets fouled, stays strong, into Saka, onto his left foot, and just passes it into the corner. 4-0 England, and the route continues.
Well, they just let Saka, as if they hadn't done any homework on him, work it onto his left foot and score.
That was my next point, Ian. You get in tough situations at times when you're defending. It's going to happen against a quality team like England. Put him on his right foot. How many times have you seen him score with his right foot? Not many. How many times have you seen him score with his left foot? Many. Put him on his right foot. Do the job.
Well, they didn't do the job. Iran are going to make another substitution. Confirmation. It's only the 4th time England have scored 4 goals in a World Cup match. Of course, they did it at the last World Cup against Panama. They did it way back in 1954 in a 4-4 draw with Belgium. That would have been worth watching. And of course, they did it when they won the World Cup in 1966 against what was then West Germany. 4-2. All the goals scored by West Ham players. Declan Rice will know that. 3 for Jeff Hurst, 1 for Martin Peters. Well, some slick football there from England, it really was. Sterling couldn't quite control it to continue what had been a fine move until then. Iran playing for their pride now. Mohorami, Nurahi with the cross. It's a bit of a guesswork ball, really. Maguire to get it away. Substitutions coming up here for England. Callum Wilson of Newcastle United, who had been off the scene, really the England scene, for 3 years, but he's having a fine season for Newcastle, which won him selection. He'll be coming on. Phil Foden of Manchester City. Looks like it might be 4, in fact. I think Jack Grealish. Yep, can see him down there as well. More about that in a moment. Here's Mohorami. Golizade. Cute ball that. And Taremi strikes brilliantly. That was a lovely goal from the Iranians. Mehdi Taremi. And that lifts their mood. And all that as Gareth Southgate was waiting to bring on 4 players. That was a good goal.
We said before the game that when he scores, it's usually pretty spectacular. Finally, a good build-up from Iran. This time, they're the ones overloading the right side. Clever little ball, and bang, off the crossbar and in. 4-1.
Slickly taken. I don't think anybody saw an Iran goal coming. Pickford might have got a fingertip to that. No more, not enough. And Iran salvage at least some pride with that goal. Goes to 4-1. Harry Maguire, meanwhile, has stayed down after that goal went in for some treatment. So there's quite a few little subplots going on at the moment in this game. Looks like they're checking Maguire for possible concussion as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. And again, these are scary moments if you're England for a lot of reasons. You don't want anybody getting injured.
Dr. Joe's been watching all this, and I think you've got a point to make, haven't you, Joe?
Absolutely. So if Iran tries to make another substitution, they've already brought 4 players plus the goalkeeper. We'll know if they properly use the color-coded substitution card for the concussion substitute. Because at the begining of the game, each team is given 5 substitution cards and a color-coded substitution card for the concussion. And there are, as we await this possible another concussion substitution, there's actually Protocol A and Protocol B with concussion substitutions. MLS uses Protocol B, which each team has 2 concussion substitutions, and the other team gets a free substitution if one of them are used. But actually FIFA is using Protocol A, and when a concussion substitution is made, the other team does not get a free substitution, but they still have a concussion substitution, which might be what we're seeing here. I hope I didn't confuse you all.
Yeah. So just to clarify, Dr. Joe, England only have 5 substitutions to make, regardless of whether it was a concussion sub or not.
That's correct, but they do have their own concussion substitution, which if they use the color-coded card here, then they would have 6.
Understood.
Right. We'll be asking questions on all that later, by the way, Landon.
Yeah, I hope I don't get quizzed on that.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, it is quite complicated. Maguire is coming off, feeling a little groggy, and Eric Dyer of Tottenham Hotspur, who probably would have started had England gone with a back 3 today. He's coming on now. Dyer, of course, made a bit of World Cup history, scored the decisive penalty when England won their first World Cup penalty shootout against Colombia 4 years ago. Still waiting to make those substitutions. England, Marcus Rashford, I think, is going to come on as well. He's been in pretty good form for Manchester United. Didn't see any of those coloured concussion cards for the Maguire one, did you? But we might not have done.
No, I didn't, but I guess you just don't know for sure until we get some clarity.
Here's Dyer. Picked up here by Rice. England just have to be a little careful that they don't get complacent. Iran starting to do things. Golizade again, who set up the goal. Get the block in. And then Noor Lahi, and at that moment, Jordan Pickford, the England goalkeeper, comes out to berate his defenders, who he thinks have kind of gone to sleep. Dyer replacing Maguire. Now with an interesting background, although he's English, he actually learnt his trade in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon, Sporting Club de Portugal, as they are officially called. Saka's coming off by the look of things, having delivered 2 goals. You wouldn't want to be taken off in a World Cup.
Saka, Sterling, Kane for this long, and you look up and you have to see Foden, Rashford, Callum Wilson coming into the match. Not going to make you very happy.
And Jack Grealish.
I know, by the way, Jack Grealish.
Yeah, who cost $125 million, or roughly that. I'm not sure quite what the latest currency exchanges is. That seems to change quite a bit these days. Grealish is on.
Oh, and I guess I was mistaken there. I guess with the Harry Maguire sub, they didn't put Callum Wilson in. But I would expect that'll happen at some point here.
Yeah, he was a bit unlucky there. Here's Kane. Rashford's first involvement is an opportunity. And he might score with his first opportunity as well. Marcus Rashford, welcome to the game. 5-1 to England. This is extraordinary, really.
And it's almost a carbon copy of Saka's goal. Harry Kane showing all his quality. Touch, pass, and watch Rashford set it up, sell the shot with his right, roll it in with his left foot. 5-1. Welcome to the Qatar World Cup, Mr. Rashford.
Cool as you like, wasn't it?
Fantastic.
He was honoured by the Queen, Marcus Rashford, for his work helping poverty-stricken children get free school meals. He even got a phone call from President Obama to thank him for that work. He delivers a World Cup goal. Well, I would venture to suggest, unless something dramatic happens here, and in the next week or so, Iran's chances at this World Cup have all but evaporated. Don't forget the US facing Wales in their opening World Cup match later today on Fox. Coverage beginning at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific for that USA-Wales game. Join John Strong and Stuart Holden for commentary on that. It'll be fascinating to see what happens in that match. What a moment for Marcus Rashford, who has had a difficult time over the last year or so, particularly last season, but he did a lot of specialised fitness work in the summer to come back fit and strong and sharp, and he's been much better in recent months. And I think you saw his level of confidence there on the way he took the goal, Landon.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, and when he's at his best, he's electric.
Bellingham to spread the play towards Trippier. And Safi looks like he's gone back to his left back position. And with the many changes, there's Otolahi. Referee waved play on. They've tried to be a little bit bolder in this second half, Iran, but you can't say it's really paid off.
Just such a difficult position to be in. You're down 3 goals. You want to get something out of the game. You want to put on a performance that you can be proud of. The challenge is you just open yourself up, and England have been ruthless.
But these are very, very early days. It's worth stressing that at this World Cup there can be so many twists and turns. Well, here's a story. Sardar Azmoun, the striker who's been very vociferous in his criticism of the Iranian regime, has been out injured for several weeks now with a calf injury, and he's going to come on. Looks like Harry Kane. They're going to just wrap him in cotton wool. No need to take any further risks with the star man, and Callum Wilson does get on in the end of a Newcastle player. 5-1. And it looks like it's going to be England's record opening day win in any World Cup in their history. I do love the first few days of any World Cup. You get your first glimpse of all the teams and just start to make one or two assessments.
There's so much hope too. Every team has hope. If you're Iran or Wales, you can advance out of the group maybe when not expected to.
This Taremi again has got another opportunity, and this time he makes a mess of it. It's pulled into the space quite cleverly though.
Good timing, good run from Taremi. But just got the shot wrong.
And Azmoun gets a big reception. Very big reception from the Iran fans. So I think he's a little bit of a hero to many of them for speaking up in the way that he has. One of his quotes was, "Long live Iranian women." He's a good player as well. 41 goals in 65 caps.
It's a shame he wasn't fit to play 90 minutes today, because he and Taremi together are very good.
Stones to help it forward. Here's Phil Foden. Foden again. He's a very good player to be able to bring on from the substitutes bench. Grealish now. Rashford again. A lot of white shirts to aim at. It looks like quite a few of them have got ambitions to get themselves on the score sheet, doesn't it now?
I've been in games like this, unfortunately not in a World Cup, but you feel like there's opportunities to score and you just go and go and go.
How big a confidence morale booster is this for England at the start of a World Cup? Because remember, they've gone into this competition having not won in 6 matches.
We spoke earlier about the importance in the standings on the table of winning your first match, but there's a psychological piece too that's crucial. As the US go into their Wales game in a few hours here, same thing. It's not just a point or 3 points in the table. It's psychologically, do you build confidence and feel like you can actually progress? And this is big for England to start the tournament.
Grealish. John Stones. Manchester City players everywhere you look around the England squad. It's the return of World Cup tonight. All the day's highlights, special guests, some World Cup fun. Kate Abdo, Mo Edu, and America's World Cup fan, Chad Ochocinco, who gets to go to the matches as well, including tonight's USA-Wales match. Then he'll come back and do his report for you. That's tonight, midnight, on Fox.
I want to be Chad Ochocinco when I grow up, by the way. He showed up with us on the flight. I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Just going to a bunch of games." I said, "Are you working?" He said, "Yeah, kind of, World Cup tonight, but I'm just going to a bunch of matches." I said, "Okay, that sounds fun."
Sounds like a good assignment.
That's a nice gig, yeah.
You just pick your game each day, wander down.
I think I need his agent.
It'll be fun to watch. Bit of cramp by the look of it here, maybe, for Haj Safi. He's winning his 122nd cap for Iran. This has been a difficult night for Carlos Queiroz, who was a man with a plan, that's for certain, at the start of proceedings. Has to be said, absolutely nothing's gone right, including losing his first choice goalkeeper early on.
I can't help but wonder if his decisions are going to haunt him tonight. He brought 2 guys in who haven't played, didn't play in qualifying. Went to some version of a 3-5-2, 3-6-1. And the result was this. Goal after goal after goal.
First 3 arrived in the space of 10 minutes. Towards the end of the first half. And Saka was allowed to waltz through and allow the ball to go onto his left foot as the defenders watched. And then this one from Rashford.
Ian, the storyline for me today is between John Stones, Harry Maguire, and now Eric Dyer and Declan Rice. They've done such a good job ending any possible counter from Iran. It's allowed every attacking player for England to basically do what they want. Foden's doing it now too, Grealish as well, Rashford. They can go anywhere they want when they have the ball, attack, 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 because behind them all the fires are being put out immediately, and then they can go and do it again.
Interesting to see how things go later in the tournament. It does look like England, well, they'd be heavy odds on to progress after this in this group. That's a rare loose ball from Bellingham. Golizade looking for the early ball, trying to get Azmoun in. But honestly, Iran are probably playing for consolation prizes, aren't they now? Dyer. Here's Rice, who was joking with his England teammates apparently, and he brought an empty suitcase along with him, and he said it's to bring the World Cup back. And I think the answer was more prosaic. He's got a lot of extra England kit that he's got to bring back to London. Good ball, Dyer to Foden, and Foden to Rashford. Again, having a lot of room. Rashford goes on and on. Is he going to finish it? No. He got the block in this time. It's quickly won back by Grealish. Foden. England are really starting to turn it on at times here now.
Just full of confidence. So good from Phil Foden, this whole sequence. Just coming into the midfield, finding open space, checking his shoulder to see what's around him so he can turn and drive at the Iran back line. Like I said earlier, it'd be a nightmare to look up and see him coming in after dealing with Sterling for that long.
Shaw with the corner kick for England. Kirosh trying to lift the Iranian fans to a bit of extra noise to help his team across the line, but I think probably the truth of this is he probably can't wait for this to finish. Something of a statement display by England in this World Cup curtain raiser for them. Shaw to fizz it inside towards Callum Wilson. Here's Grealish. Rashford. They haven't been able to cope with him since he came on. Marcus Rashford, not at all. Later today on Fox, Senegal against the Netherlands. That's an intriguing clash between the African champions and the Dutch, who've been in 3 finals without ever winning one. USA taking on Wales. Remember that first USA game. Coverage starting of those 2 games, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. As the World Cup story begins to unfold. Well, England playing with a real swagger now from this position. Are they going to add to it? Rashford, Shaw. Rice just run into trouble. Taremi nicked it away from him like a pickpocket, really. Here's Golizade, who's providing one or two bright moments since he came on, including a cute ball to set up that goal. On that. Short of playing inside to Declan Rice. Shaw's come a long way since he used to do his homework in the back of the car on his way down to the Southampton Academy when he was about 12 years old.
Well, he certainly did his homework today before playing this game. He's been excellent today.
Grealish intercepting that ball from Kanani. England 5, Iran 1 with 3 minutes remaining, plus anything the referee wants to add on. And we were warned at the referee's briefing the other day when I went along that there might be 7, 8, 9 minutes of added time because they're very anxious that there isn't only about 40 or 50 minutes of action in matches, so all the delays will get added on.
To that point, Ian, a lot of times in club football, club soccer, when it gets to a point where there's a blowout like this, they might blow the whistle right at 45, maybe give a minute or two. However, as we've talked about today, goal differential matters, and I'd be curious to see how they handle that. I think you've got to give the time that's supposed to be there, because you never know, an extra time goal could mean advancing or not.
The referees in the 33rd team at this World Cup. They have a meticulous and long preparation. FIFA are anxious that the game is portrayed in the right way. Rashford with the flick. Bellingham to help it on. England might have another chance here. Callum Wilson, he's in here. Is he going to finish it? No, he plays it to Grealish, who scores, and England have 6. A first World Cup goal for Jack Grealish, and only his second ever for England. They've absolutely run riot here.
This epitomizes England today. Clever, we'll get a check on that, but he looks onside on first glance. And I love this from Callum Wilson. You can be selfish, or you can make the right pass, and he does the latter. And I love that from him. Says a lot about him as a player and a person. You won't score many easier than that, Jack Grealish. 6-1 England.
Yeah, because he must have been dreaming of scoring at the World Cup, but Grealish had the better opportunity, and Wilson's football brain kicked in. Jack the lad indeed there. I think Iran want the final whistle here to put them out of their misery. It's going to be 10 minutes of added time, to underline the point I was making. That's all the substitutions, of which, of course, there are so many these days. Any hold-ups, if there's a goal scored, that adds a bit more as well.
Well, I guess that answers that. They're giving the time that they think is supposed to be there. So
some kind of record, I think, here today, Landon. 14 minutes at the end of the first half and 10 at the end of the second. In towards Azmoun, but Luke Shaw is there. The perfectionist in those England defenders will be annoyed that they didn't keep a clean sheet. Pickford, especially, has had very little to do except pick the ball up the back of his net when Taremi scored. Heaviest ever World Cup defeat here for Iran. Bellingham to play it wide. Stones. And Gareth Southgate gave a pretty honest answer when he was asked by some of the foreign journalists just before this World Cup. He said, you know, what are you expecting to achieve? And he said, well, we made a semi-final and a final in the last two tournaments. If we don't make the last four, we will be disappointed.
It's a big statement.
Yeah.
And I think he's right, though. I mean, you look at the quality here that this side have, and it's hard to imagine that they're not going to give any team in this competition problems.
Foden turned cleverly into space. Bellingham. Stones to chip it forward. Bellingham to flick it on again. Grealish will keep that in play. It's becoming almost cruel, this. Bellingham. It's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it, for Hussein Husseini, who thought he'd be on the bench for the afternoon. Comes on and has to concede 6 goals. You couldn't really blame him for many of them, could you? If any.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's been to blame for anything. Just the quality of England today has been overwhelming.
Well, over the years, England have found 1,000 ways to break the hearts of their fans at World Cups. Quite a lot has gone wrong. Sometimes the 3 lions have looked like 11 lambs when they've got out on the pitch. Not here. Not today. Rice goes off for that drive through the middle of midfield. England know, though, and they're respectful enough to know that the USA and Wales will give them a lot more to think about. Just seeing out the time really now. Flicked on by Foden, who's just want to give a nudge, don't they, to the manager. Look, this is what I can do if you want to use me. Foden's played like that since he came on. Rashford too. Nice problem to have if you're Gareth Southgate.
I'm trying to figure out how you keep him off the field if you're Gareth Southgate. Obviously, in America, we get the opportunity.
Mahorami getting the crossaway towards Azmoun.
We get the opportunity to watch the Premier League a lot, but seeing him in person, he is electric and really fun to watch.
And of course he does that the moment you say that, Landon.
Of course he does.
Welcome to the curse of the commentator.
I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about.
Don't worry, it happens to all of us that. Frequently, in fact. Here's Azmoun. No Hurami. They've got 3 red shirts waiting in the middle, but Dyer's there with the header. Another thing that strikes me watching this, Landon, is that sometimes I think England, in common with some other countries, they're coming off the back of maybe a 60-game season when the World Cup's in June. Here, the players are in pretty much peak condition after just 2 or 3 months of the season in Europe.
It's a great point, and when I played in Major League Soccer, and generally we were the ones who were fresh, and the European players were coming off a long season, and this is the opposite. All the top players, top teams are in really peak form and fitness at this point, and it'd be really interesting to see how that impacts this tournament.
You could say that with the other teams as well. Yeah, they're nicely revved up, I think, the players, and that will add to the quality of what we see.
No question. The other talking point, Ian, coming into the World Cup in the Middle East was, is the heat going to be a problem? And you know, just going off myself, we're sitting here in suits, and I'm actually a little bit cold.
So am I, yeah.
The air conditioning is clearly working, and
a chance here for Azmoun to get a second goal. He hits the bar with it. I think it was a great save by Pickford. I think he got something on that. Azmoun denied a goal. He would have been odds on to score.
Timing there was excellent, and you're right, Ian. What a save by Jordan Pickford.
Yeah.
Really good technique. He goes down to make the goal as small as possible. Keeps his hands up. Just touches it onto the crossbar.
Kareem, he looked like he was fouled. Iran get the free kick that they deserve there. To their credit, they've given it a go, haven't they, in the second half, but there's been a huge gulf in class, truth to tell.
I just want to reiterate, every goal matters, and you never know. You get a goal here at the end, and it could make a difference later in the tournament. You just don't know.
And I think that's how they're approaching it as well. Hash Safi to take it. And in support of your point, Landon, they've got a lot of red shirts in there trying to grab that goal, which just might improve their goal difference by 1. As hopeless as their situation looks at the moment. And, Pickford got his fist to it. That's something not too friendly to say, I think, at the end of it. Kanani. He says he's less emotional now, Jordan Pickford.
I just watched him scream at Kanani, and then his teammates came in to help him, and he told them to go away and stop being emotional.
So this might be a little bit more to add on to the 10 minutes. It's a never-ending story here, isn't it?
We're getting past your bedtime now, Ian.
Yeah. So this game, we reckon, was going to end at about 10 to 6 local time. I've got to tell you, it's now 10 past 6. Now he's going to look here for a possible penalty with that last ball that was played in the area. Let's have a look at this. Dr. Joe, did you see anything here?
Actually, before you brought us to the audience's attention, I was speaking with the producer. I say, I think we got a possible penalty here when the referee was not allowing the throw-in to be taken. That was a clue that the VAR was talking to him. So we got to see if there's a pull down. It's not clear here, and maybe here, but there's a little bit of embellishment. Oh, there's a shirt pull. With the shirt pull, if the referee sees it the same angle that we're seeing, he's going to give a penalty.
I mean, consistency is what matters. Does John Stones grab his shirt? Yeah, but to me, that's less offensive than the ones in the first half against John Stones and Harry Maguire.
Yeah, because the one with Cheshmi in the first half, that was almost something out of the World Wrestling Federation, wasn't it? That was allowed to go. Is he going to give a penalty for this? I mean, I think well, we're saying of academic importance. He's given it. Taremi's going to take it. He's given the penalty for that. I'm with you, Landon, on that. Where's the consistency from the incident that happened in about the second minute of the game?
Yeah, I think that's really poor.
Is that a clear and obvious error?
It's tough to say. I don't know.
There's the big VAR debate, isn't it? Anyway, Mehdi Taremi has a chance to get a second goal here right at the end of the game to make this 6-2. Pickford's never saved a penalty for England in normal time. He's done it in the shootout. It is. Could that possibly be of any importance for Iran? Moving it from 6-1 to 6-2, improving their goal difference by 1.
With his run-up, you can tell, selling it that he's going to go across his body. Calmly rolls it into the corner.
Scores his 30th goal for his country. And gives Carlos Queiroz just a measure, a very small measure of consolation. Somewhere amid all of that, the referee's blown the final whistle as well. That was the last action. England have 3 points. They were scintillating at times. Played some beautiful football. 6 goals. Your final verdict, Landon, is what?
England looked pretty dominant today, and over the course of a long tournament with that kind of quality, you have to say they are the favorites, or one of the favorites at this point.
It's a big win. It's a dreamland win for England. Thank you very much for joining us here today at the Khalifa International Stadium. England winning by 6 goals to 2.